How Jack Reacher puts a spin on a biblical tale. The smash hit Prime Video crime drama Reacher has steadily taken audiences by storm, with the action-packed series famously following the former U.S. Army veteran turned drifter as he travels the country and interacts with a slew of violent criminals and becomes swept up in dangerous cases during his journey. Jack Reacher is a massive and imposing figure who is as strong as he is intelligent, and someone who seeks to help and protect the vulnerable and deliver retribution to the wicked. The Knockout Show is based on the Lee Child best-selling book series and already has 2 critically acclaimed seasons under its belt, with a highly anticipated 3rd installment set to make its premiere in 2025. Both the character and actor Alan Ritchson have swiftly emerged as one of the small screen's most beloved presences, as viewers find themselves captivated by the resilient vigilante in his plight to defend the defenseless and keep innocent people safe. The origins of Jack Reacher are equally intriguing, as Child drew inspiration for the series and hero from a surprising source, an enduring biblical tale. Who is Jack Reacher, and what is the hit show about? Based on the best-selling Lee Child book series, the thrilling 2022 small-screen adaptation Reacher features Alan Ritchson effortlessly stepping into the role of the drifter and self-proclaimed hobo, a former U.S. Army military police major who leisurely travels across the country in a nomadic manner and inadvertently finds himself swept up in dangerous cases with violent criminals he is forced to take down. An intimidating presence due to his massive stature, muscular physique, and stoic demeanor, Reacher may not want to involve himself in any drama or chaos, but he has no problem finding it, or rather, it finds him. Prior to the creation of the record-breaking Prime Video original, the captivating character was first brought to life by Hollywood staple Tom Cruise, who portrayed the savvy former military man in 2012's Jack Reacher and its follow-up sequel Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. Naturally, the casting of the 5'7" Cruise as the 6'5" Reacher did not go over well with fans of the popular novels, who felt the actor was woefully miscast despite him delivering his usual action-packed performance and showcasing his impressive physicality. Child said of Cruise's involvement in the film adaptations, "Though both movies proved to be successful at the box office, audiences were still frustrated and wanted to see the beloved hero accurately depicted and his essence properly captured, a wish that was ultimately granted when Ritchson was cast as the powerful protagonist." Standing at 6'4" and 235 pounds, Ritchson physically fits the description of the behemoth Reacher, and with the actor's penetrating gaze and resilient attitude, he became the perfect person to portray the U.S. Army veteran. Ritchson had previously appeared in shows like Smallville, Blue Mountain State, and Titans, and was more than ready to tackle the role of the unflappable Jack Reacher. Author Lee Child first introduced the fierce and formidable vigilante Jack Reacher in the 1997 novel Killing Floor, which the first season of the series was based on, and drew a lot of inspiration for the character from himself, who also stands at 6'4". He came up with the character's name while in the supermarket when an older woman asked him to reach a can of pears for her after noting the impressive span of his arms. Child would go on to agree with observations that he and the fictional Reacher share notable similarities, expressing in a 2016 interview, "I was huge as a kid and Reacher's stature is me translated as a kid." Biblical stories have long served as the cornerstone for many modern narratives, offering archetypes, moral dilemmas, and universal truths that transcend time. Among these, the story of David and Goliath, a young shepherd defeating a giant warrior armed with little more than a sling and sheer determination, has been retold countless times in literature, film, and even action thrillers. Lee Child's Jack Reacher series, with its wandering hero battling injustice, can be seen as a unique reinterpretation of this ancient tale. Reacher, though a far cry from the shepherd boy David, mirrors key elements of the story while adding a modern, rugged twist. His journey is a modern David and Goliath saga, with a dose of raw pragmatism and moral ambiguity that fits the gritty world he inhabits. At its core, the story of David and Goliath is about overcoming impossible odds. Goliath, the Philistine giant, is an embodiment of brute strength and tyranny, while David represents underdog resilience and divine purpose. Reacher, a former military policeman turned drifter, echoes David's role as the outsider, the unlikely hero who faces down seemingly invincible adversaries. Unlike David, Reacher doesn't rely on divine intervention. Instead, his faith lies in his intellect, military training, and an unwavering moral compass. Yet the essence of their battles remains the same. Both take on towering foes, armed not with brute force alone, but with strategy, cleverness, and a deep understanding of their opponent's weaknesses. Consider the typical Jack Reacher plotline. Each book finds Reacher wandering into a new town, where he invariably discovers corruption, injustice, or an oppressed community. These towns often have their own giants, powerful figures who wield control through intimidation, violence, or money. Whether it's a corrupt businessman, a dangerous crime syndicate, or a brutal enforcer, these adversaries serve as modern-day Goliaths, using their resources and influence to crush those beneath them. Reacher, much like David, stands apart from these power structures. He is a drifter, beholden to no one, operating outside the confines of bureaucracy or allegiance. His detachment gives him a unique advantage, allowing him to act with a clarity of purpose that echoes David's unshakable faith in his mission. One of the most compelling ways in which Reacher mirrors David is through his unorthodox methods of combat. Just as David defeats Goliath not with a sword, but with a sling, Reacher often relies on unconventional tactics to outsmart and overpower his enemies. His fights are not won through brute strength alone, though he has plenty of that, but through his keen observation, quick thinking, and an almost surgical approach to violence. Reacher knows when to strike, where to strike, and how to make every move count. In the face of overwhelming odds, he doesn't panic. Instead, he calculates, adapts, and exploits his opponent's weaknesses. His approach reflects the essence of David's triumph, the idea that intellect and precision can overcome even the most daunting physical threats. Yet, Reacher's story deviates from the biblical narrative in significant ways, reflecting the complexities of modern morality. David's victory over Goliath is often depicted as a clear-cut triumph of good over evil, with David serving as a vessel for divine justice. Reacher's victories, however, are far more morally ambiguous. His sense of justice is deeply personal, and he operates in shades of gray, where the line between hero and anti-hero blurs. While David's actions are celebrated as acts of faith, Reachers are driven by pragmatism and a deep-seated disdain for bullies and abusers of power. His justice is swift and often brutal, leaving little room for redemption or forgiveness. In this way, Reacher embodies a more modern, cynical worldview, one that acknowledges the messy, imperfect nature of justice in a flawed world. Another key difference lies in Reacher's relationship with power. David's victory over Goliath is a stepping stone to his eventual rise as king of Israel. Reacher, however, shuns power and permanence. He has no desire to rule, lead, or even stay in one place for too long. His victories are not about building a legacy, but about restoring balance in the moment. Once the battle is won and justice is served, he moves on, leaving behind no trace of himself, but the impact of his actions. This transient nature sets him apart from David, highlighting Reacher's role as a wandering knight-errant rather than a ruler in the making. Ultimately, Jack Reacher puts a fascinating spin on the David and Goliath archetype by reimagining it through the lens of modern action and moral complexity. While the core themes of resilience, ingenuity, and standing up to tyranny remain intact, Reacher's story adds layers of grit, ambiguity, and realism that resonate with contemporary audiences. He is a David for the modern age, a loner with no divine mandate, but with a